livid.
What do you
Did
mean?
you just smash up my perfect blue tack cube?
Oh, don't be
I've
ridiculous.
been sitting here making it a perfect dice shape.
Oh, grow up. Ross is one of those people that can't have his hands idle for more than 10 seconds. So
and John's one of these people who won't let people have nice things.
So what he'd done is he'd found a bit of blue tack and he'd squished it up. It's white tack, in fact, isn't it?
Yeah, it is white tack, yeah.
Which is the tackiest of the tacks.
Yeah, and it was a perfect cube, and now it's not, so...
No, well, I mean, what makes
now
it
it won't
again?
get off my thumb. Go away!
He's such a child.
You're listening to Ross and John.
On Radio Essex.
John Oakes.
Hello!
How are you?
You know what? I'm living the dream, mate.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, am I super loud? I felt like I was really loud then.
No, not loud enough, mate, as far as I'm concerned.
You know what we need?
What?
We're going to do a little search for the system. So, for those regular listeners, hello, welcome back. You're listening to Hits and Giggles, Ross McGrane, John Oakes. You might have noticed the show has been a little slicker already this evening. That is because the man, the myth, the legend, Ross McGrane is back behind the desk. I loved running the desk last night.
You did a great job, mate. I was really proud of you.
Thank you very much. I'll tell you what, it's terrifying though, because there's so much stuff to do. People don't realise, that you're working so hard. So well done, you.
Thanks,
are doing
mate.
Really good work.
I'm still a little bit broken with the old tooth situation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
You're still
but
suffering.
I feel a lot better knowing that you're here to dive into Captain Kirk's seat.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, but I'll try and be a little bit quieter if I can. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I don't want to blow people's ears off.
I suppose, yeah, but I've got the buttons, so I'll make sure you're not too loud. Anyway, so it's slightly different to our usual setup tonight.
Yes.
In that we haven't got a guest.
Well, I mean, you say that, but I think we should run it as though we're each other's guests.
Yeah, I like that
Because,
idea.
it is the Ross McGrane and John Oakes show.
Absolutely.
Then I feel like, the people need to know a little bit about us before we go too much further.
I couldn't agree more. And we haven't got any guests, so we're just going to have to, aren't we?
That's debatable.
This is hilarious.
Yep.
So, might as well continue the story. Go on.
Well, basically, he was getting a police officer was getting interviewed on ITV News fairly recently about some things that had happened in London, and obviously, when they talk to people, they put up a little banner at the bottom, don't they, saying who that person is and what they do, and it was PC Rob Banks. Rob Banks, a copper called Rob Banks.
Oh my goodness, that is just hilarious.
I could not believe it.
That just, I mean, at what point? I mean, I'm assuming his name's Robert.
Yeah, or if it's Robert or Robin or Robbie, or it's not Rob. Like Rob is short, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there was no flash of irony or anything in his eyes. It didn't look like it was a deliberate joke.
It can't be deliberate if he's a copper, can it?
No, but you know what I mean? Like,
no.
if he'd have asked the people at ITV, someone there might have gone, what's your name, please? You don't say Rob Banks. You say
Yeah, can you imagine that person? Like, sorry, do it again. Rob Banks. I remember watching, this happens quite often, there was an advert on a little while ago, like a bowel cancer awareness advert.
Cheery, mate. Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I know, it's not ideal, but there was they have doctors on these things, didn't they? Like talking about the importance of getting yourself checked or something like that. And the doctor's name was Dr. Bowley. I was like, he was only ever going to do one thing, wasn't he?
Oh, that's excellent. There's a really good local one, actually. Obviously the studio is in Southend, and I'm from Westcliff, which is sort of close to Southend. You're sort of Southend area, aren't you?
Yeah.
And there is it's a Vets for Pets or something nowadays, or Pets at Home, or something like that.
Oh
Fairly
no,
close.
yeah, this guy treated my dog.
And
This is hilarious.
the vet's name is Mr. Chihuahua. I've got to find it. And if you're listening, Mr. Chihuahua, please text us in so people know when we're not telling fibs about this.
I'm sure I've got to try and find it. It's on my Facebook page because I posted the receipt for the veterinary treatment.
It's just joyous, isn't
Peter Chihuahua is
that his name?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just brilliant.
That's incredible, isn't it?
If you've got a name that's so incredibly suitable for your job, that's so very lucky, isn't it? But I mean, you say that, thinking about it, my name is John Oakes.
Yeah.
And my initials are J and then Oakes. So, technically I am Jokes. So I guess, I was only ever destined to not be taken seriously.
Right, anyway, up next is Singing McSong Song.
Hits and Giggles with Ross and John.
So it turns out that is actually a thing.
What do you mean?
It's a thing. It's called nominative determinism. And this is the dictionary definition, well, the encyclopedia definition. Nominative determinism is the hypothesis that people tend to gravitate towards areas of work that fit their name.
Oh, my God, that's a real thing.
It's amazing, right? So I've just been doing some studying about it, and it's a thing. It's like a really big thing that happens all over the world. I've got some absolutely brilliant examples here. But first of all, I need to tell you a bit about where it all comes from. So it's sometimes called aptronym, aptronym, A-P-T-R-O-N-Y-M.
Or aptronym.
Yeah, or a couple of other things. There's some really great bits about it. So, like, the idea of that people are drawn to a profession that fits their name was originally suggested by psychologist Carl Jung. Do you know Carl Jung?
Carl Jung.
Yeah, he was a heart and lung surgeon.
Yeah. Good old Coley, yeah.
Carl Jung cited an example from Sigmund Freud, who was obviously a big Pink Floyd fan, and who studied the pleasure of surnames meaning joy. So, like, people have a surname meaning joy, feel more joy, etc. But it's like a massive thing. So it stems from, here's the thing, the full research into it is it stems from back in the day when we didn't used to have surnames, right?
They just called you what your job was.
Yeah. So, or so,
your dad's like Johnson is, it's John's son.
Yeah, so a nickname became sort of what you were known for. So if you were John from Essex, you were John Essex to a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? Because people who travelled anywhere else are often called the name. And it was the same for things like butcher, baker, sort of anything like that. If you've got a name that suggests, like Tyler, for example, you would probably, I don't know, made chips or whatever. But like that's where it all sort of stemmed from. So the fact that people still have roots.
I feel sorry for the people who used to have to muck out the stables, though. What were they called?
Probably still can't say it.
Mr. Poo Shoveler. Nice to see you again.
It's funny you say that, actually, because there's a book called What Is in a Name, which was written in 1996 about a bloke who studied a lot into names and your name being, was important about what's in your character.
Right.
Supposedly, the book What's in a Name was written by Paul Dixon.
Paul Dixon?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Dixon studied your name related
What does that
mean? Paul Dixon. So what I'm saying is it's a good book and you should research it.
You should definitely read it or research the author. I've got a list of names here of people that closely match their job. And I know they're legitimate because one is like a sign outside a shop, another one is like from BBC News.
Okay.
Some of these are great. So one of them is a sign for an eye specialist, Dr. Ashley Seawright.
Yes.
The head of exercise medicine at the University College of London. What do you reckon his name is?
The head of
exercise medicine.
Christopher Motivator.
Dr. Mike Loosemore.
Oh, no way.
What do you think the name of this particular assistant deli manager is? A deli manager.
A deli manager. Ian cut sandwiches corner to corner. What was his name?
It's Margaret Bacon, mate. There's more. I'm having a lovely time. Right, this is a dentistry, which is very apt considering. Do you know what the name is?
No.
Justin Payne.
I can't even open them. Oh, they're so good. I've got somebody here who had a driving instructor called Mr. Carr, C-A-R-R, hilarious. And there's a footballer called David Passmore, supposedly.
David Passmore. Oh no, I've just found it. Right, this is the lieutenant of the Sun Prairie Fire Department in America.
Okay.
What's his name?
It's not Mr. Burns, surely.
It's better than that.
Better than Mr. Burns? Well, what is it? Mr. I've got a big red fire truck.
It's Les McBurney.
Oh, Les McBurney.
Oh, God.
That is...
You're listening to Ross and John.
On Radio Essex.
Music department teacher, Miss C Sharp. Oh my God! Right, look, enough of that. I've got
hilarious.
I've got another story here, which
Okay.
is just honestly brings me deep joy.
That's debatable.
This is a story about or it's not a story. This is it was a true story. A stone circle thought to be thousands of years old has turned out to be built in the 90s.
No way.
Yeah, so the recumbent stone circle, which is what it's called, it's in the parish of Loch-el-Cush near Aberdeenshire, was reported by the site's current farm with unusual features, including its small diameter and proportionately small stones. Historic Environment
Hold on a minute. It was reported as being small.
Yeah, it's like
Stonehenge is the one, isn't it? Stonehenge, if you're talking about stones piled up in a circle, that's your boy, isn't it? That's what you're measuring from.
Yeah, the Mac Daddy of henges.
Absolute henge.
Yeah,
you
best
can't
henge.
out-henge that henge.
Definitely not.
That's henge as you like.
Alarm bells would be ringing the fact that they are, carryable size rocks.
Oh, okay.
You probably need a wheelbarrow at the very least.
Well, that was my next question. Is you said they're, uncharacteristically small. How small is small?
Well, they're about the size of like my upper body.
Okay,
if you
so
imagine
like
just holding
tombstone
my,
size.
well, they look about that big. They may be a bit bigger. It could be perspective. Who knows? They're rocks. They'll be heavy.
Okay.
So Historic Environment Scotland and Aberdeenshire Council's Archaeology Service celebrated it as an authentic discovery and continued their research on it until being contacted by the former owner who said they'd built the stone circle in the mid-90s. Blatantly just a couple of 90s ravers.
Oh, they've had a fire pit. That's what that is. What you've done is you found an old fire pit, mate.
Yeah. But what I love most about this story is the pictures of all of the archaeologists and like keen students surrounding it.
Oh, no.
They've got all the proper equipment. They're measuring it. They're dating it.
They've got those big yellow tripods and like some weird-looking webcam on the top.
They've got like massive smiles on their faces. And, there was probably some drunk geezer sitting on one of them stones naked a few years ago.
Or even worse, sat on it with his bare bum out playing Wonderwall.
Gig Reflex.
What are you up to this weekend, John?
I am back in Basildon for the Adult Panto.
Wonderful.
Basildon.
Basildon.
I'll be at the Towngate Theatre.
Is it your last weekend?
Yeah,
How's the show's been going?
Really great. I'm having a really, really good time. It's weird for me because I tend to do a load of sort of improv and hosting of shows and stuff like that, or sort of stand up where I'm sort of on my own. I don't have to not worry about other people, but you know when you're working on your own, there's less of that concern of having to make sure everyone's all right. It's quite a selfish thing to do. Particularly stand up, you have to be very, very self-involved in thinking about yourself because it's hard to be up there on stage on your own, supplying what you supply.
Yeah.
So it's been really lovely to work with a team of incredible people, and they are really amazing. Like particularly, Jordan Gray, who came on the show, and she's amazing and lovely and very funny.
Yeah.
And Luke Coldham, I get to work really closely with. He's playing the Dame in this panto.
Yeah.
He's also the guy that wrote the panto as well. And he's just an absolute joy to be on stage with. And sort of with a lot of the time with improv, you're working with other people and you get to have a great time, and that's fun. But being on stage, knowing what you're supposed to say next, in some circumstances is really lovely, and because you know what you're going to say next, and you know that it's going to get a laugh because you've done it 20 times already. But sometimes it can sort of lose that buzz of saying it. The feeling of saying it for the first time is great. It's like when you tell the same story to one person over and over again, you get bored of that thing. And I'm really enjoying the different feelings about the show that I'm doing.
Nice.
It's really good fun.
I found one of the things that I found weird doing panto. I mean, obviously I'm not an adult panto, but a panto, and completely against the grain to what I normally do as a stand-up, exactly the same as what you said. I found it harder delivering the jokes that weren't mine in the script.
Yeah.
Not harder, but just like, like what you're saying there about when you deliver your jokes, you sell it with this conviction that's like, you know exactly where the afflictions are, and you even psychologically, I think the audience can just feel that that's a real story and that you're selling it. Whereas, not only that, it's also highly taboo to tell anyone else's jokes as a stand-up.
As a comedian, you don't sort of use another person's material.
So it's not. I mean, obviously, I'm not thinking about that. I'm not sitting thinking, I can't use this material. It's a script, for goodness sake. But there's still like an element of like when I first was learning the script and stuff like that. It was just a bit weird.
So they say that like good acting is making somebody else's words fit in your mouth.
Yeah,
which I think is probably sort of what you're talking about.
Yeah,
like
that
saying
must be
something that somebody else has written and making it feel like you're thinking it and saying it. Is tough. But it's been good. I've really had a really, really good time. I'm going to be sad when it's all over.
It's nice to stretch some creative muscles, isn't it? Different creative muscles.
Yeah. What would you? I mean, we talk about this with all of our guests, but I've never asked you this. I don't think. What would you be doing if you weren't a comic? I'm assuming you describe yourself as a comic nowadays.
Yeah.
What would you be? I'm assuming you describe yourself as a comic, even though you are not funny, Ross McGrane. So like you do a whole bunch of stuff, but primarily you're a comic or comedian, right? Would you describe yourself as a stand-up comedian or a comic?
I'd say I'm a comedian. I don't say comic.
Okay.
I say comic when I'm referring to other people, but I don't call myself a comic. I don't know. Just comedian sounds better, doesn't it?
Does it?
None of it sounds good. I actually get. You'd think because it's different for me. I grew up in the industry. I've always wanted to either be on the radio or doing comedy, so I'm very lucky to be living out those dreams at the moment. It's not as fruitful as I thought it would be. No, but now, like I feel like when you say it, if it's in an informal environment, people. The expectations of you go up, and it puts pressure on you in a social situation.
Yeah,
and likewise, I was at a meeting, quite an important meeting. Regarding my local high street recently, where there's like council pods and stuff like that. And
council pods, for those of you, let me just Westcliff it up a little bit for everybody, or Leon C it up a little, I suppose. People from the council. Yeah, people from the council there, and other dignitaries and stuff, and people that are involved in better in the high street. Great.
And I felt like I described myself as an artist, and I instantly hated myself. Because I am an artist, but I just feel like in that environment, if I had said I'm a comedian, I feel like my stock would have gone down. Mm-hmm. In a social environment, it goes up.
Okay, so you're talking about perception of people. So like when people ask me what I do, and for example, my hairdressers, I go into my hairdressers and they have us playing on the radio sometimes.
Do they?
And I don't tell them that it's me. I don't tell them that I'm a... I don't tell them that I'm a comedian. I don't...
You feel like you're showing off.
Yeah.
And you're not. It's what you do.
Like you're showing off. But the other part of you, I just want to avoid the questions. The worst one for me is, tell us a joke then.
Oh, God,
Here's the thing. If people of the world, if you ever meet somebody who says they're a comedian, the worst possible thing you could ever ask them is to tell you a joke.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're a one-liner comic and then they just want you to ask that question because they've got hundreds and they've probably got hundreds about that very question.
Oh, I don't know.
But for the most part, comedians aren't one-liner comics. There's a handful of them. And, our jokes are like just stories and anecdotes and it just does not work the same. And especially not when you pile that pressure on. Sometimes I give in if it's like the right person at the right time or whatever, and I'm like, and like your brain's scrolling through the Rolodex of jokes.
The hard thing about it is gauging that person. It's like, oh no, that one's a bit too dirty. I can't tell that one. Yeah. Oh, they won't understand that one. And I don't know who that person is. So I'm going to go with this joke here.
I had a horrible cringe moment the other day in the barbers. I go to this Roman's Barbers in Southend. A little shout out for you.
Big up.
And the guy that does my hair, it's horrendous. I don't know where he's from. He has told me. I can't remember. Mm-hmm. But there's a little bit of a language barrier there. He speaks perfect English, but he's saying to me, he knows that I do comedy, and he's like, I need your help. Like, I want to, have you got any jokes that I can tell at like a party or something? So I'm like, I can't really tell I can't give you any of my jokes, to be honest, because they're more stories. But I know a couple of great one-liners from other comedians that you could probably tell. And I told him a couple of these jokes, and because of the language barrier, they just don't get the British irony, you know what I mean? And it's like I'm in the bar and there's other people sitting in the chairs as well, and it's like I can feel them listening in because he's going to tell me a joke and everyone's quiet in the thing, and I've told him and he's just looking at me like, it's like, no, I don't get that.
Oh, lovely.
Radio Essex.
Right, time now for what is probably my favourite part of the show, and probably everyone else's, which is slightly depressing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, let's not pretend. It's definitely everybody's favourite part.
Yeah, so my 3-year-old daughter Lexi is our own resident agony aunt, and she's been solving problems for us all week since we started this show. We've had what problems have we had so far?
We had the overweight hamster.
Oh, the overweight hamster, that was last night with Kerry Wilson, and then we had Dan earlier on in the week who wanted to know whether to get a cat or a dog and how to convince his girlfriend to get a dog.
Yeah,
Basically.
and of course we had Jack, who wasn't sure what he wanted to do with his life.
That's right, and she gave him career advice. Tonight, though, something slightly different.
Yeah.
We've had a chat from Leon C in Essex saying he's looking to buy a new car. Let's find out what his problem is.
Ask Lexi.
Hello, Lexi. It's Steve from Leon C. I'm looking at buying a new car, and I want to know whether or not I should buy one direct from a dealership, whether I should buy privately, or if it's better to buy a brand new car. Any advice you got would be appreciated, greatly received. Love the show. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Hi, Steve. Thanks for the question, fella. I was to buy a car from dealer. You run the risk of getting mugged up on the price, and the chances of getting a decent warranty are next to none. But if you want a cheap runaround, my dad has got an Aston for sale. 500 quid. You can't go wrong. Give me a bell and it's yours. Cheers, mate. Bye.
Ask Lexi. You're listening to Ross and John.
On Radio Essex.
Right, so we haven't got a guest today, so you're the guest on Inside the Comedian Studio.
Yeah.
This is where we've borrowed questions from inside the Actors Studio, and they actually borrowed it from a French series called Bouillon de Culture, hosted by Bernard Pivot, who probably spends a lot of time spinning around, if our earlier links got...
Oscillating, at least.
So, okay, so here's the questions. Are you ready?
Yeah, I am ready, steady.
Question 1, John Oakes, what is your favourite word?
I really enjoy the word saliva.
Ooh,
I enjoy the word saliva.
I don't like that.
Do you not?
You said it, and it made me think of saliva, and now I don't like it. What makes you like it?
I just think it's a fun word to say, saliva.
Fair enough. What's your least favourite word?
In my least favourite word, it's a brand, so I don't think I can say
you
it.
can say it.
Okay, it's. I read it once on a washing line. You know, one of those washing lines. What's the one? It's like an upside
read it
down
on a
spider.
washing
It's an
line?
upside down spider. Goes in your garden.
It's a washing line.
Yeah, a rotating washing line. That's what I'm thinking of,
okay,
right?
yeah.
And the word is.
You're such a man, aren't
The
you?
word is minky. Minky is the name of this washing line brand, and I'm sure their washing lines are absolutely fantastic. But the word just makes me cringe for some reason.
We had one of them rotating washing machines, and I went out to after the winter when you haven't hung anything out there for ages. The spiders live in it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they've got ideas above their station. You know what I mean? Imagine looking at a giant spider web on a pole in the middle of a garden and thinking, I can do better than that. That's why I hate spiders. They're so arrogant.
Yeah.
Right, okay. What turns you on creatively, spiritually, or emotionally?
Somebody. This sounds really arrogant. Oh, I'm just going to tell the truth. That's what we do on this show, right? Somebody who I think is more intelligent than I am. So somebody who I think is
That's the opposite of arrogant, isn't it?
but I don't think a lot of people are more intelligent than I am. So, like, when it happens, that sounds... But what I mean is, like, when somebody's really very clever and knows stuff, and it takes you by surprise.
I see, yeah, okay.
I've got a great example of this. It's obviously my wife, because she's amazing, Ali James. Or Ali Oakes now, because I've married her, so there. She constantly surprises me. She's very... Obviously, she's brilliant and very, very clever and incredibly talented and does some amazing things, like better than I can, and is
All right, mate, she's not here.
fantastic, right? But the thing that blew my mind about her that happened to me today is obviously, you know, she does a whole bunch of stuff and that's great, but the thing that blew my mind, she stores her slippers all day on the radiator. So when she gets home from work, she comes in the door, takes them off the radiator, puts them on, and they're warm. Just like... That is simple, isn't it? That is a simple choice.
Yeah.
But that just made me fall in love with her again. I was like, what a genius. So now I've bunched hers up and mine are on there as well. So yeah, stuff like that when somebody's intelligent, that's cool. So if you say to somebody, oh, what was the last book you read? And they can name one that's not of Mice and Men or something they had to read at school, then that like...
I don't know what the last book I read. It's probably an old gangster book.
Yeah, but like you listen to quite a lot of audiobooks, don't you?
I do, yeah.
But yeah, when somebody says to me, I've read this, or somebody's excited about something they've done, like sort of intelligent that maybe I don't know, I don't understand, or whatever, that gets me excited.
Okay.
I enjoy that.
What turns you off?
The opposite of that.
Okay.
Idiots turn me off.
What's your
are you familiar with the saying, I don't suffer fools gladly?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I really fall into that.
Yeah.
I really fall into that. And I would consider myself quite naive to lots of things in the world. But I guess somebody who's like me annoys me more than anything else in the world.
What's your favourite curse word? Not your actual favourite curse word.
Yeah, of course, because I don't want to get either of us from the radio. What is my favourite curse word? I don't know, really. Probably the one that would rhyme with Goldilocks.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's just, you can just get away with it in most social situations.
Yeah.
And it can be used to describe something very, very good. It can be the absolute Goldilocks, or it can be described as something bad. So, what a load of Goldilocks.
Yeah, I like that. Very good.
Yeah.
It's just right.
Yeah.
What sound or noise do you love?
I enjoy a party popper. That's really sad, isn't it? One single solitary party popper. No, not
not a party whistle.
Not a party whistle. That'd be ridiculous. No, you know, like a party popper where it's just like this is it.
Yeah,
it's that, and the little tiny strings that come out. It just always brings me joy. I love after a party popper's happened. You know, you spend the next 2 hours going, oh, is that a pound? No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's a little paper bit. And there's always that one party popper that doesn't really go off properly, and that's fun when somebody's got that one. And I like the little strings out of party popper when they're all rolled up.
I love the smell.
Yeah, you see, what's not to love about a party popper?
Do you remember when you first found out that you could fire one at your face and it didn't hurt as much as you thought it would?
Don't do that.
Do
not do
Definitely
that.
don't do that.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Okay, what sound or noise do you hate?
What sound or noise do I hate? I'm not good with kids crying.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like an instinctive thing, because, you know, they say that a child's cry is supposed to be the worst thing in the world to humans, isn't it? But I don't think, gosh, I must help that baby. I think, I'm trying to read. I'm not very good at it, because I'm not good with young kids particularly. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know how to fix it. So it's just something that I can't repair, and that annoys me.
Fair enough. What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Carpenter for sure.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'm well into like making stuff with wood.
It's a proper one, mate. Jesus' dad was a carpenter.
So was Jesus, mate.
Yeah, he was actually.
Before he was the Messiah, he was busy.
Well, he was a carpenter's apprentice, wasn't
putting up shelves. Always the bridesmaid. Yeah, but it'd definitely be that. I really enjoy like woodwork and stuff, and I enjoy trees.
You enjoy trees, not being up them.
You know what's happened?
What?
I'm John Oakes, aren't I?
Oak trees.
I can't believe it. It's gone full circle.
Oh, amazing.
I'm attracted to jobs that are matching my name. What
profession would you not like to do?
Anything caring, anything where you've got to be nice to another person.
I love that.
It's just not a bit of me.
And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I would like him to say, a proper carpenter, finally. Can you come and help my son out?
Hits and Giggles with Ross and John.
On Radio Essex.
I want to talk about Usain Bolt, or Usain Bolt, as it's actually pronounced, I discovered the other day.
Yeah, he's a very fast man.
He is fast. He's a quick lad, that Usain Bolt. What a runner that fella is. I want to talk about him because he's recently given up. He could be doing anything by now, by the time you're listening to this in the future. But he was a runner and was a very, very fast sprinter, particularly. Yeah. And then he had a little foray into football, didn't he?
Yeah, he's still playing, I think, isn't he?
No, he's just given up.
Oh, he's retired.
Yeah, he's officially retired. He says in a recent interview that he might have retired from sports altogether.
Oh, blimey.
But I don't believe that for 1 second. He's not. I can't picture Usain Bolt in, You know, like an office.
Especially when your sport's like 100-metre dash. How could you ever give that up? It's only from here to there, isn't it?
What are you talking
Well,
about?
if you can do it, if you can do it really quick, then you might as well just keep doing it.
Yeah, but that's like the highest octane run, isn't it? The 100 metres is the hardest one.
Is it really?
Yeah.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Surely the marathon's the hardest one.
No.
26 miles is harder than 100 metres.
Not at the speed Usain Bolt's running it at me.
Really?
No
He's got
way.
really long legs.
Yeah, but, you know, that's even better to see you with, my dear.
And I'd
Must be
wager he
even-
could probably run all the races quicker.
I
He's a
don't know.
fast runner, isn't he?
Well, that's why he was doing so well in football. He did incredibly well in football very quickly because he was just such a good sprinter. So
Now, when we say he done very good in football, he got signed very quickly into a professional team because he's an half-decent footballer.
Yeah.
But, like, we're talking, like, you know, decent for a Sunday league footballer.
Yeah.
But because of his speed, he ended up playing for professional football. This is where we need Matt Adlington, isn't it?
Yeah.
Matt Adlington, Matt would tell you.
Matt is the football expert. You can catch him and you and sometimes me on the Soccer PM show on Saturdays.
Absolutely.
But Matt will be able to tell you all about it. But all I know is, you know, surely if he's a tall lad as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like 7 foot or something
So
stupid.
what they should have done is he could already run. They should have just taught him how to be really good at headers. Just practiced headers over and over again. And then, you know, you could have crossed it to him from whenever you were and he'd have run into the box. This is my FIFA experience talking now. FIFA 98. You just run into the box and header it in.
That's simple as that.
Easy as that, isn't it?
Have you seen that race that he did where he looks to camera and smiles?
No.
Are you joking?
No.
Oh, you've got to pull this up immediately and look at it. So he's running like, it's a big race, like it was the Olympics or something. And he's running the 100 metres and he's like sprinting ahead of them all. And he looks to the side to camera.
No
mid-run with
way.
a big grin on his face. I can't believe you haven't seen it. It's like world famous picture.
Oh, that's amazing. I'll try and find out.
Just find it and chuck it out.
So what do you reckon then? Usain Bolt, is that him done for sports or what?
No, I reckon he'll be back. He'll be doing cricket next, won't he?
Do you think?
Well, because he's got to be a fast runner in
I
that as
guess,
well.
how far is that little distance in cricket? You have to run from one wicket to the other, didn't you?
About 100 metres, probably.
Do you think? Imagine that.
Yeah.
He'll just be there and back like lightning.
Oh, blimey, yeah. No, well, you know, good luck to him, mate. At the end of the day, he's a legend, isn't he?
He is. He's already a legend. It doesn't matter that he's given up the football. He will be forever remembered as a top runner.
Yes, he will.
Well done, Usain Bolt. Right, now what's going to happen now is I'm going to clunkily hit a big red button and that'll be the end of this bit. You ready? Listen to it. It sounds like this.
That's debatable.
Okay, so have you ever heard of free time paralysis?
Absolutely, I have. And I'm definitely sure I suffer from it.
You reckon?
Yeah, 100%,
I definitely do as well.
So for people who don't know what it is, why don't you fill us in?
So what it is for, I mean, we're all busy people, aren't we? We're all working hard and we're in the grind. And some people, like, they live for your day. I live for time off. I just, it's funny, the busier you get, when you're not busy, you want to be busy. And then when you're busy, you just desperately want that time to yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
And most people, I imagine, when they get that time to themselves, they enjoy it and they spend time doing the things that they want to do, looking after them, maybe having a little bath or something. But people like you or I, people who suffer from free time paralysis, cannot sit still, can we?
No way.
So, yeah, we're both extremely busy in our own lives, and it's very, very rare that we get time to ourselves. And obviously, I've got a 3-year-old daughter as well, so normally any time I do get at home, I'm with my daughter, which is great, but every now and again, it is nice to get a bit of time on your own.
Yeah.
When I get that time on my own, I just sit there and feel guilty about all the stuff that I might, could be doing.
Yeah, I have to designate free time. So if I know that I'm going to be relaxing, doing nothing between the hours of this time and this time, that's fine. But again, that to me is becoming more and more rare because, we're told nowadays that you've got to do yoga and go out for walks and have some time to yourself. And I get it, but I feel like having time to yourself can sometimes just be sitting down.
I don't ever feel guilty about stuff like that. I'm not one of these people that sit there, if I'm sitting down, I think, I should go out for a walk and get my juices flowing. I don't care about myself. I just and you say that, you have to designate free time. Even if I designate free time, even if I sit there and think, right, Lex is at nursery that day, I've got 4 gigs that week, I'm doing 3 pre-records, 2 podcasts and 5 radio shows that day, there's no Lexi, no Holly, I'm playing Red Dead Redemption all day.
Yeah.
and I'll look forward to it all week, and the day will come, and I'll sit down in the morning and I'll think, I'll just send a couple of emails before I... And then next thing you know, it's 2:00 in the afternoon, and I've sent 20 emails, designed 2 posters.
Yeah.
And
you've been at work.
And I've been at work, and I've left the washing up, and I think, do you know what? I've done all this work today when I should have had a day off. I'm going to play an hour of Red Dead Redemption before I do the washing up, and I'll put that game in. I'll sit down. I'll put our front door's like sort of in the living room basically, so I put a little blanket over the front door to stop the glare from getting onto the telly. And I get all prepared for my hour of gaming when I could have had 8 hours of gaming, and I deserved it, if I do say so myself. The minute I get on that horse on Red Dead Redemption, Key goes in the door, Holly's there. And as far as she's concerned,
You've been doing nothing all day.
I've been doing it all day, and I still haven't done the washing up.
You've been doing nothing all day. Yeah, I absolutely fall into the same thing and suffer the same thing. Do you get this? I suffer from having this weird guilt of having to be time efficient.
Right.
So
okay.
if I know I'm going to put the kettle on and I'm going to go to the bathroom and I'm going to take my shoes off, then in my brain I logistically plan out what's going to be the most time efficient way of doing that.
I do that in a way.
So I will open the cupboard, take a cup out, put it on the side, open the drawer, get a spoon, and then leave the room because they're all the closest thing on the way to the door.
Yeah.
And to close the drawer seems like a waste of time because I've got to come back past it in a minute. So I will carry that spoon with me downstairs to undo my shoes, knowing that the most efficient, knowing that when I come back in the room, that's going to be the most efficient way.
That's crazy.
That is next level, isn't it?
I think I sort of do the similar things. Like, in the morning I will come, like, even though I will be busting to go to the loo, I will come downstairs because I have my coffee and a percolator because I'm that guy, right? I'll have to come down and get the percolator set up because the percolator has to sit for 5 minutes.
Yeah. Tell me, mate. I know.
I want to have my morning wee and then come down and immediately drink the coffee. I don't want to go to the toilet and then come downstairs and have to go through the rigmarole. So I'd rather dance around in the kitchen, busting for the loo, just so that it's prepped for when I get downstairs.
Hits and Giggles with Ross and John
on Radio Essex.
I want to talk about Ant and Dec.
Oh, you want to talk about Ant Dec? Okay. I
want to talk about your boy Ant and
our predecessors.
Yeah, you might be listening to this in the future when we've already smashed the records set by Ant and Dec. You might even not remember who Ant and Dec are. You might be thinking, who are they? Oh, were they some?
They're the people that were there before Ross and John.
They're the ones that paved the way for Ross and John.
The only time anyone ever says Ross is good on Britain's Got Talent.
Oh, incredible! So recently in the news, is January the 24th in the year of 2019, and Ant and Dec have just won their national TV awards for Best Presenter consecutively. They've scooped that
18
title
years on the bounce,
18 years in a row, and it also makes them the longest, the Guinness World Record holders for winning again. So,
yeah, I mean, I think if there was a year when they could have got away with not winning it, this was the year. And I don't think they would have minded. I don't think anyone would have really been shocked if Holly and Phil had picked up the big prize.
Right.
I mean, I love them. I do love them. And I feel for Ant in a way. Don't get me wrong. I think he was an idiot for getting in that car under the influence.
Yep.
There's one thing is actually battling demons. Another thing is you are one of the most famous people in the country, and you've got to set an example.
Yeah.
Don't get in the car drunk.
Yeah, obviously, drink driving is a terrible, terrifying thing. Yeah, but exactly like you said, he's been having a really hard time.
He has been having a really, but that it doesn't excuse it. And I just think all right. Some might say he's been punished because he's been taken out of the spotlight and he's gone into rehab and he's found himself and all the rest of it. Mm. But, I think a suitable punishment would be to not win that award.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
I just think, don't get me wrong, I get that people love him and there is an argument to say that because of their service to TV, that, cut them some slack.
Yeah.
There's still no one better than Ant and Dec, and, that's a fair point.
And, I mean, also, he actually did He did all 6 of the Britain's Got Talent audition episodes last year, 3 of the ITV takeaway live shows, the Saturday night takeaway. So, he's as eligible as anyone else to win that award because he has presented some stuff.
I'm not saying he's not eligible, it's just whether it's deserved.
Okay.
You see, the thing is, this is an award that happens every year.
Yeah.
And the way I see it is, it should be based on your performance for that year.
Yeah.
It's not a lifetime achievement award, is it?
No.
And he was, he got done in February, mate.
Yeah.
That is not much of the year.
Yeah, true.
I mean,
true.
all right, okay, Britain's Got Talent's aired in April time.
Yeah.
But, if you looked at him on that show, he looked a little bit troubled, didn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't having a great time.
So,
but my favourite thing about it, obviously, if you want to get in touch and let us know your thoughts, you can do. And I'm sure loads of people have got sort of contrasting opinions.
At Radio Essex, mate.
Thank you for that.
Do it.
He's right. Of course he's right. He's Ross McGrane. Oh, no, you're going to take that bit of audio and use that forever, aren't you? But the thing that I really enjoy about it is, did you see the speech that Ant gave?
No,
it was really
sorry.
nice. It was really touching.
Horrendously unprofessional. Just yawned.
Don't worry about it, mate.
Blindsided me. I was trying to get a sneaky yawn in.
Yeah, I'm running the desk tonight, so anything could happen.
It is like that.
Here's Informer from Snow. No, I'm joking. Isn't it? It's not going to get that wild. So yeah, he said he gave a really nice speech and just said that the award is for Dec, basically. That how Dec has absolutely smashed it this year, and he's really pleased and proud. And not only, is he a great co-host, he said he's also his best mate and he really loves him. So it's
that's
really nice, really, really touching.
Yeah, she's no more than what he deserves, mate, because I think that out of all of this, Dec deserves all of it, mate.
100%.
Poor Dec, still repping the family-friendly fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's doing it.
They are smashed. They are living the dream for the rest of their lives. They will die the most famous people in showbiz.
Yeah.
And you've gone and got hammered and driven your mum in a car around London.
Well,
I mean, I can see this. This is going to be you one day, isn't it?
No way. I'm putting it out there now. You are the bad boy of radio.
No, I'm not.
I will be accepting an award on your behalf.
Radio Essex.
I'm having a lovely time so far this evening.
Yeah, me too. It's nice to be in the passenger seat.
Thanks. It's nice to be.
I'm the passenger.
And I ride. We should never sing on the radio again.
Definitely not.
But I'm loving being in control of the desk. Thanks for letting me press all the buttons and stuff. Speaking of press all the buttons, it means I can press this one here.
That's debatable.
Shocking.
Oh, God.
Shocking. It's like my fingers don't... Anyway, it doesn't matter.
This isn't our bedroom. This is someone else's business that we're running into the ground.
What you talk about running into the ground? The audience like the fact that, it's raw and real and on this. This is street radio right now.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, this shows all of you lot out there that anyone can do this.
How dare you?
I'm joking.
You've built an incredible thing here that I'm trying my hardest not to ruin. So we're talking about as many stories as we can in the news, or ones that we find interesting. We talked a little earlier about this sort of paralysis that you experience when you have free time. Yeah, so free time paralysis is is sort of the buzz name for it at the moment.
Well, it's not the only kind of paralysis, though.
No.
I mean, obviously, there's some horrible paralysis. No paralysis, nice paralysis, but there's a thing called sleep paralysis. You ever heard of this?
Yeah, I have heard of it, yeah. I think I might have had it once when I was sort of really young. I remember having a really harrowing dream and waking up and not being able to move.
It's super common. It happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, don't you suffer from it a lot?
Not a lot. I used to suffer from it a lot. I used to have real trouble sleeping, so I'd be basically nocturnal and just stay up all night and then sleep for a few hours in a day and just sleep in chunks like that and just and I think when you've been up all night, you've pulled an all-nighter somewhere, and then it's the evening of the next night, so you've been up almost for 3 whole days without a full night's sleep, and you're falling. You'll say something that doesn't make any sense in the conversation. Everyone's you're like, "Shut up, David, you big white rabbit." Everyone's like, "What?" You know what I mean? Something like that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what it is, but worse. It's like it's basically when your body is you are in the
sleep mode,
rapid eye movement sleep.
Yeah.
And then your brain wakes up before you're ready to wake up. And it is terrifying.
No way.
When it first happens, it's the scariest thing that ever happened to me.
Right.
And it's still, like, freaky when it happens, you know, because you basically, you're awake, but you can't move. You can't talk. And obviously the natural thing to happen then is for panic to set in, so you start hyperventilating.
Yeah.
And the whole key is to, like, focus on moving one part of your body, calming your breathing down. And that's what I used to do. I used to, like, realise it was happening. I could feel the shortness of breath, and then I'd just, like, slow my breathing down.
Yeah.
And then just be like, right, just focus on lifting your arm up. And it might take a couple of minutes, and then my arm would just fly up off the bed, and then it's all fine.
Well, I suffer that every morning when I'm laying in bed and the alarm's gone off, and I think to myself, I'm not getting up here. This is not happening.
Yeah, that's self-induced paralysis.
That is just not wanting to get out of bed.
But according to the NHS, it is super common. It's not harmful. It should pass in a few seconds or minutes. And many people will experience it at least once or twice in their life, while others experience it a few times every month or even more regularly. Affects people of all ages. It's most common in teenagers and young adults, so that'll explain why I had it when I was younger. The symptoms, yeah. So during an episode of sleep paralysis, you may find it difficult to take deep breaths as if your chest is being crushed or restricted. So back in the day, like back in the dizzy, when we all thought it was all witches and wizards and that.
Yeah.
People thought that it used to, what do they call it? It was like a witch riding your chest, basically, they thought it was.
Oh, you know what? I think that's why I remember it. I think I've had that dream.
Oh, what, of the witch sitting on your chest? Really?
Yeah. How terrifying. Oh, it's coming back to me right now. Oh, let's talk about something else. How weird.
Demon in the bedroom, that's what they called it.
Wow. Well, I mean, I've been called worse things.
You're listening to Ross and John
on Radio Essex.
Has anyone ever licked your bum down before?
Informer, and lick your bum down.
I did actually look up the lyrics to that. Do you want to hear what they are?
Yeah. What do you mean, do I want to know what they are? You're telling me that they're not lick your bum down?
It is a licky bum down, rather than it being specific to you. It's just a licky bum down.
Okay.
So it's Informer. You say daddy me snow, I'll go blame licky bum down. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Detective man said daddy me snow, me stab someone down the lane, a licky bum down.
Okay.
Police them come and now they blow down my door. One come crawl through my window.
Oh, yeah, that fits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they put me in the back of the car to start. I'm not going to do the accent.
Please don't. Yeah.
From that point on, me reached my destination. When the destination reached, it was the East Detention, where then whipped down my pants, looked up my bottom.
No! Have we just played that on the radio?
That has made my day.
Have we
mate.
just played that on the radio?
So basically what he's saying is that the detective man is saying, is accusing him wrongly in his eyes of stabbing someone down the lane.
Okay.
And he's took him to East Detention Centre.
And giving him a full cavity search.
Looks off his bottom.
Hits and Giggles with Ross and John
On Radio Essex.